One thing this week, these guys are going through a real traditional camp. Now, it's not two-a-days like it was when I was playing college football because of the rules, of course, which is a good rule. However, we're stretching these guys' days out, starting sometimes at 7 o'clock a.m., and they're leaving the building sometimes at 10 p.m. So, 3 weeks of that, they're ready to see an opponent. I really challenged them the last 2 days in particular, camp legs, camp brain, that fatigue mentally and physically starting to set in. Hey, let's push past. This is where championship teams are forged, and more importantly, this is where a team, the unity that we're looking for, the closeness, the bonding, where that is formed through adversity, and that's what we try to create. And I think they've done a nice job of pushing through that and also staying healthy through that.
So rewarding them with a little bowling.
Yeah. So we just wanted to get our guys out, have some fun. Southern Lanes tonight will be there, have a chance to compete in their topper game teams, and Coach Spurrier's team, the Dubs. They're called the Dubs. They have about 25 points to make up in the current standings through 6 events, I believe. And so hopefully Coach Spurrier can roll a 300, get some turkeys out there.
Yeah. Saw the drill too, where you were doing little blocking drills and things like that. So you talked about just going through camp. Have you been kind of pleased also with the aggression that the guys have kind of brought out?
That's one thing that I think sometimes falls off in the middle of camp is you're wanting to protect legs, you're wanting to protect body types. Different offensive line, you're trying to protect shoulders, and we've done a good job of that. But you also want them to realize this is a nasty, physical, ugly football game in the trenches. It's won and lost with blocking and getting off blocks and tackling. And just creating that with our board drill today, something that we typically do early in camp. I wanted to bring it back just to reiterate that we have to our identity has to be as a physical football team, regardless of what plays are called, whether you're in 5 wides or whether you're in 4 tight end sets or on defense, whether you're in a nickel spread set on defense, or you're in a bear 5 down front. We got to be physical. That's the only way we're going to be able to win football games is by being the most physical team every time we take the field.
Give you a chance to address the Tanner Reeves situation, the decision that was made there.
Yeah, Tanner Reeves is a guy that has meant a lot to this program. Personally, he's meant a lot to me, and I've gotten very close to him in the time that I've been here in 8-9 months. And at the end of the day, our rules are our rules, and you violate those rules. And you put yourself in jeopardy, safety-wise, but more importantly, you put others in this community in jeopardy. There's going to be no tolerance for that, especially when it's not the first time it's happened. It is the first time it's happened, since this coaching staff and myself has been here. But when there's a history there, we've got to uphold the standards of this program, and that was a decision that we made. It was not an easy decision. He's a really good football player. He's a starter. So it's not like we're just making an example of somebody who's a lesser player. That's a guy that's had a significant career in fits and starts here on the Hill.
What kind of message did you give the team about kind of reminding them of the expectations, what it takes off the field to accomplish things you guys want to do?
The good thing is that those expectations, the standard has been set. We've talked about it a lot. So when they heard of what had happened, they knew what was going to happen. Pretty simple, and so it was unfortunate. They all hurt for him, they hurt for us, but they also know that the standard that we want to implement and have be our norm here at WKU in our football program is something that can't be bent, can't be broken. It's got to be time tested, and that's the way we got to go about our business. And particularly when it is a repeat offense.
Who will fight for that position?
Yeah, we're really competitive right now. We're blessed with a good defensive line, a unit. I think that Carson Jordan being an incoming junior college transfer, that's why you bring in junior college transfers. You don't bring him in to redshirt him. You bring him into play. He's a guy that's competing. Heath Wiggins, he's a guy that's going to give you everything he's got every day. Play with just absolute fanatical effort, and he's done that. Then you got a guy like Chris Johnson that can go bump outside and you're afforded that luxury when you have Jalen Madden inside, you have Julian Lewis inside, and obviously you have Evan Sainer inside. So we can make that unit look very different. The other guy that really has caught my attention as a very special, very unique player is D'Angelo Malone. You see him, just his speed. It's something else. So it's a different dimension than those other guys that I mentioned. But he does bring a different type of edge presence as a defensive end in this defense.
got to hand Coco a piece of paper the other day, too.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Coco. It didn't want to make a huge production out of it. We didn't need a celebrity. We didn't need any apparatus. That's who he is. He's a bring his lunch pail and hard hat to work every day, to sound like cliche, but that's who he is. He's not a flashy player, but he makes flashy plays, and that's what I love about him. He's done it all camp, and honestly, I think he's been one of our most valuable players through 2.5, 3 weeks of camp, and so it was a no-brainer. Once a scholarship became available, it was a no-brainer that Coco was without question that guy, and it made it easy for me knowing that I've been wanting to put him on scholarship since really the first week of camp, because he came back with a different commitment to his body and to getting, even maybe his shortcomings that he may have physically. He doesn't play with any of those because of the work he put in this offseason and that he puts in every day on the practice field.
And injury-wise, you guys doing pretty well through 15
Yeah,
practices?
we're doing well. There's, Nate Roush, update on that. Nate Roush was he did have an ACL, so we've had to, unfortunately, and once again, just like DeAndre Simmons was not involved in a contact situation. It was a drill where he was being blocked and it just kind of planted funny on it, and didn't have anything to do with a body rolling into his legs, or it wasn't even a live period. So unfortunate for Nate, just because of how much he loves being a part of this football team. But he's going to continue rehab and work really hard so that he can have that moment, hopefully someday, that Coco had, where he's put on full scholarship again. So he's a guy that means a lot to this team.
Scrimmage on Saturday. What do you want to see on Saturday?
Yeah, so we've been treating this week kind of as a game week. We want it to be a game week, really. Almost kind of the crescendo is leading into Saturday's 9:30 a.m. scrimmage. We're going to be a lot less practice beforehand, a lot less drill work, and we want to put the ball down and play and let the situations come up as they come up. I want the offense and defensive units and special teams units to get used to playing a game as it comes up. And I also want to see who's not only game ready from a mental, in a schematic standpoint, but who's going to be game ready in terms of just playing consecutive plays back to back to back. That's always the thing that you're looking for is just our game conditioning. Running in the summer is one thing, practicing in 6-play increments during a scripted period is one thing, but I want to see us where we're at from a conditioning standpoint and what guys are where they need to be that we can count on in those situations.